Alright guys, replacing spark plugs in Toyota Highlander, engine code 2GR-FKS. There are lots of videos out there, at least few, that shows how to do it in the different modifications of Highlander. I'm gonna do it, this video just for myself. I'll post it on YouTube if you're interested. So this is just for my plan. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this hose, this hose, this hose, unplug this, and this one is already unplugged. Then I will unscrew the box, unplug this guy, and we'll remove this air box, and then I will start with removal of this throttle body. That will be my beginning. So this hose, this hose, this, unplug this. This will be also removed from here and put aside, unplug this and unplug this. So that's just to start, and we'll see after that. Alright guys, so throttle body is out, and the gasket here, this is the one that here, I'm not going to replace it because I simply have not purchased it. That's what it is. So I will do this. Hold on. So there is a bolt right here behind this little pipe and hose. There is a bolt which I will, as suggested, will just loosen it. Just loosen it because it's like opened. It's not like a opening that closed. It's like open, so you just can lower this whole part. The bolt stays with the manifold, and I will undo the manifold bolts, so starting from outside and go inside. That's what's suggested with the plastic manifolds. So it looks like fairly simple at this point. A few bolts, and this manifold should start to come out. Alright, so before I continue, it's worth to stop here for a second and mention something. So these bolts and nuts up front was easy, nothing to it. Now, and that bolt was kind of like on the way, and I unscrew it completely. So this is this bolt right here. So I completely removed it in the end. That's what I was. So this bolt is just holding the manifold from the back side. That's what holds. Now, what's holding this manifold now are these hoses right here. So at least one of them maybe has to go, actually, because otherwise I can't, turn over this manifold to replace the gasket, or at least see what kind of, I think I need to replace gasket, because I just look how, I see like this oil a little bit sipping, and that's that gasket. Okay, so this gasket needs to be replaced. But this is not the most interesting part of this whole thing. The most interesting part is to look inside this manifold where the valves are, and look what I found there. I don't know if you can see. I guess you can. Look at this. You see those valves? One is completely clean. Okay, that one. Now on this side, it's a little bit more dirty, but it's in relatively okay shape. But everything inside, so right there. Okay, you see? So this one has a little bit on it, but on the valve, like a shaft, whatever. But this one also has on its shaft a little bit grease or gunk, whatever. Okay, so I try to put top tier gasoline, and this engine has dual injection, like port injection and direct injection. So these valves look relatively clean, right? It's just amazing to look at this, it does look, the surface of the valve itself looks clean. Everything around looks kind of dirty. Looks, but trust me, this is nothing versus other cars, what they have with direct injection only. You know, this is just nothing compared to other cars. Spark plugs are accessible right there. You can see this is the one right here. One is here behind and one is here. Okay, so now I can access these spark plugs and replace them. I'm gonna cover this ports. I'm gonna cover them right now just to make sure that nothing goes in it, because then I will be screwed for sure. All right, so let me show you something. So I saw there on a aluminum part that there was some sipping. And look right here. I don't know if you can see it. See, right here, there was some basically gasket right in the place where there's like a gasket guide. You know, this little guide that tells you, hey, you need to put this gasket this way. This is the guide, right? And right where this guide, that's where it was basically leaking a little bit, I guess, of oil, right, or wherever it came here, the mixture. All right, and let's see. So it's actually supposed to be like air just coming in here, right? Because this is air in intake, and gasoline mixed a little bit lower, but I guess it's coming out, something coming back here. So a little oil here, that's normal, okay? But this exactly place where it was like leaking a little bit, so I already wiped it with my finger, so it was right here, and that's exactly where I have it on the metal here. You see, there's like a, I don't know if you can see right there, like darkened spot a little bit. That's where some oil was sipping out again. So it's not like leak or anything, just sipping a little bit. So here I have the job update. I already installed all new spark plugs, and the video specific how to determine if spark plugs are counterfeit or real will be posted as well along with this video. The hardest part of all of it, and by the way, these spark plugs, like I never seen anything like this. You know, like this is in the back here, here, and here. I have not connected these connectors just yet, but this is what I'm gonna do as soon as I finish this part of the video. Surprisingly, spark plugs, they're not very tight in this application. Basically, I just basically touched them and they unscrewed, okay? And specifications for them is 13. Seems like 13 feet-pound of torque for them. What I found sort of like unpleasant discovery that, and I will not call like as a professional like what the cylinder number here, but this in the back bank in the center, and the one in the front bank on my my left. I've seen some oil inside, basically inside the spark plug well. Here in the back, just the traces and a little bit more. Not like it was flooded or anything, but it's also like a bigger traces. Let's put it this way, bigger traces of oil. So I don't know how bad this is, really, what it really means, so let's say how catastrophic it is if it starts to leak more. We have the cover here. Inside cover there are this like a wells, like a tubes where spark plug sits, and I don't know if I remove this cover, let's say, this is something I will have to research. If let's say let's say it starts leaking a lot, if I remove this cover, well, where the spark plug, what will I see? Will I see the gasket for this tube, or this is part of the at least partial, because I think this head is made of two parts, right? So is this like a partial head gasket of the top part, or this is, you know, just specifically a gasket for one of these wells? I don't know how this constructed. So it's a little bit disappointing and concerning. 60,000 miles, Toyota, you know, and so on. But right at this point, it's not deadly. The next thing what I've done, I cleaned up as much as possible. I took wet, wet rag right here with, I made it wet with alcohol actually, and cleaned as much dirt as possible right here, just to make sure the gasket will be sitting more or less okay. I guess it was sitting okay. Most important parts are right here, and here is probably, it's just like where you tighten your bolt, so you don't want to just any kind like a large chunks of debris or anything like that. So a little bit of this, like, I don't know, you can't even remove this, a little bit of this debris is okay, because the gasket will go right around this ports, okay? And there is really no big deal, because when you tighten these bolts, right, it's all about putting pressure around the entire thing. All right, so now I'm gonna just connect these things in this kind of way. Oh, and by the way, the hardest thing of removing spark plugs for me was disconnecting these things. So here it's actually easy. I could just take like skinny pliers and push on this plastic here and pull it in the back. The two came out relatively easily. The center one, and I don't know, the center one for some reason enclosed in rubber protection. I don't know, maybe there is some heat somewhere or something. I don't know what's the deal here, but the fact is it has that, and I had some trouble. Now it's connected. I'm gonna connect this one as well while I'm here. Yeah, click, and that's connected. Right, so that was the hardest part actually, to disconnect this thing. So it's like such a, plus, you know, good that I'm a little bit taller and I can just bend over and go there. If it's somebody like short person, oh man, forget it. All right, so I'll be connecting these things. Here's connected, and the next part will be, I'm going to hook these two hoses. I'm gonna place my intake manifold right here, and I'm gonna connect these two hoses. Then I'm going to turn the manifold parallel to this port and lower it on this intake port. Yeah, so just it's gonna be like this. First position at like 45 degree, so I connect these two hoses. Yeah, one of the way was to do it was disconnect here and disconnect there. I kind of like missed that point, so I disconnected at the manifold. But hey, I want to come back to this. Do you remember how I said that I had a little bit of a leak right here from this gasket in the intake? And then the suggestion was there are two bolts right here. I don't know if you see them. There is like a retainer. See that bolt? And there is this like a metal little bar. This is kind of like a retainer that retains this top portion of the intake. Basically, instead of the whole mounting process happening here on the bottom, part of it happening on that side. And somebody said, okay, unscrew this one, okay, and remove this guy and just loosen that bolt, the top one, okay? Top one is not enclosed, it can move up and down, right? So you can like lift it up and this one pin will not be on the way and you just take this out. However, I think there is a problem with this, because when this thing was assembled, I think the way it was assembled, it was tilted to the back. That's why I had opening on that side. That's the reason. So what I did, I loosened the bottom bolt of that little metal bar, and of course I had the top bolt completely removed. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to just completely put this together, tighten it up, okay? Because that other bolt is important during like a operation, right? During, you know, when you drive and so on. While it's in stationary, it's okay if I just have a manifold held down by the base bolts and nuts, okay? So once I finish with this base, I'll go and I'll screw that tube, you know, I put that top bolt in and tie it up, and then the bottom one I will just tie it up. I just loosen it a little bit so it's moving right and left. That metal little like metal bar like moving right and left basically, and that will solve the issue. There will be no more leak right here, because I guess the way it was assembled at the factory. All right, everything is now put together, and that was one case when assembling stuff was easier and faster than disassembling. I made sure that I clipped all my connectors, hoses all in place, like this connector here, this connector and that connector. Spark plug connectors I connected already before, and this seems to be the end of this whole ordeal. It wasn't too bad, honestly. I think by complexity, it's not even that complex, to be serious. It's only about, you know, just taking enough parts out. Now I understand why this Toyota needs this very, like, how to say this, very powerful filter, not like some other cars have. My God, that this filter box was so dirty inside. I cleaned it, but you know, all that dirt would go eventually into the filter when it becomes loose. And by complexity, from let's say 1 trivial, 5 super complex, let's not say like complex for somebody like who do it yourself without like disassembling engine, let's say, or something like this. Let's say if you replace a clutch or you replace the entire transmission, let's make that fairly complex, right? This is like, I don't know, 2.5, 3, not even 3, I don't know. This is not very complex. It's just a little tedious. I mean, it's really literally 4, like another 7, 11, plus 2, 13, something like 13 bolts, guys. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 hoses and 3 connectors plus spark plugs themselves. I mean, it's not too bad. Yeah. Yep. So cars becoming more and more complex, and just, you know, for ease of maintenance, maybe it's worse sometimes to buy a 4-cylinder car unless you're getting something like inline 6 or something that easy to maintain. I don't know, maybe V6, but you know, longitudinally positioned instead of, you know, transverse. I mean, because this transverse engines, this is actually not bad at all versus Sienna. Sienna, it's like total disaster, but now they make only 4-cylinder, so that's that's lucky for them at this point. Now I need to do this battery as well. And this is final one. Make sure to see my how to determine real spark plugs versus counterfeit. All right, take care.